Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Chris Maloney back for another episode of CWN. This time, CWN Recap. Originally, I was going to go and I was going to do pre-records, but just based on timing, we got a live show taking place. We also have another live show taking place at 3 p.m. this afternoon, where I do the predictions for SummerSlam, as well as tonight at probably about 10:30, as soon as SummerSlam ends, we'll do a full recap live show then as well. So you can check us out at Facebook Live, Twitch, YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcast, I guess it's called now. But yeah, you can definitely check that out on audio form after the show has aired. But yeah, like I said, we are live just about to recap NXT TakeOver 30. Great show. I got to see it in two parts. So I watched some of it last night after I was in work, and then I watched the remainder this morning. Got all the way up to about the women's match, the women's championship match. Before I fell asleep last night, and then end up watching the rest of that this morning, and then Karrion Kross and Keith Lee for the NXT Championship later on this morning as well. So yeah, so just going to do a quick recap for you, everybody. I will say this: I went 3 for 3 as far as my picks went. Official score was well, I'll go through it as we go here. I don't want to. We'll do the recap first, and then we'll go over who my picks were and which ones I got right and wrong. But show was pre-show 6:30 p.m. last night. It had Scott Sanford and Curly Fries there, otherwise known as Sam Roberts. But they did all their media hype and everything else. But then it got down to the one and only pre-show match that had taken place. Breezango going over Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, as well as Legado del Fantasma becoming number one contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championship. Cool thing about that is I got that wrong right away. I thought the trio there, where are we here? It's still early. I'm still waking up. Legado del Fantasma. I thought they're going to win. I thought they're going to keep that faction going as a strong heel faction towards the end of 2020. But they end up going with Breezango. It completely surprised me. Good match, a hard hitting match. It's one of those things as far as tag team wrestling, NXT WWE is trying to get back on the map. Raul Mendoza, one of the killer guys as far as who you're going to see as a superstar, probably 2021, I would say. Wouldn't be surprised if they bring him up to the WWE roster, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But like I said, Breezango goes on to win the match, ends up becoming the number one contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championships, held by Imperium. So it'll be interesting because Imperium is tough as nails. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not Breezango has any kind of chance at all against Imperium. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Next match of the night, and this was the actual main show itself. Finn Balor, Timothy Thatcher. I can say this: I cannot get enough of those two guys in the ring. You want to talk about old school wrestling, complete size difference between the two, but you want to talk about hard hitting wrestling match. This was it. So Finn Balor taking on Timothy Thatcher. It had everything as a wrestling fan wanted without the bells and whistles and gimmicks and everything else. It was just two old school kind of mentalities going at each other. Very cool to see. Again, it's like the hype matches that you see, and then the show itself. And it's like, okay, I want to see this. I want to see this. I want to see this. Okay, Timothy Thatcher, Finn Balor gets put in the card, and it's kind of like, all right, it's a match. But then at the end of it, I was like, holy crap. I was like, that match is absolutely amazing. So I can't get enough of Timothy Thatcher and Finn Balor. Hopefully they end up fighting again. But, old school wrestling match, I loved it. And again, wrong on this one as well. So Finn Balor, I had picked to lose. He actually ends up winning it. So Timothy Thatcher, takes the fall. One of the cool things is he ended up hitting the coup de grace off the top rope, and it ends up hitting the, I think it's the 1914 DDT. I think they call it. It might be 1916. I'm pretty sure it's a 1914 DDT. Just to point him out. So yeah, Finn Balor looks like he's staying at NXT unless he shows up at SummerSlam tonight. But it'd be interesting to see where they go with Finn Balor at this point. But I tell you this. Finn Balor challenging for the NXT Championship might be something that fans want to see. Might be something that people want to see. But we'll get to that momentarily here. Next match of the night was the ladder match to crown the new NXT North American champion. Of course, Keith Lee relinquished the title. He was a double champ, so Keith Lee had to give up one of the titles. He gave up the NXT North American Championship. A 5-way ladder match had taken place last night, and that featured, I'm just going to bring up the names so I don't get them wrong, and some of the highlights that I thought anyways. Damian Priest, Cameron Grimes, Bronson Reed, Johnny Gargano, and who am I forgetting here? One guy. Oh, the Velveteen Dream, of course. Yeah. So pretty cool moments in the match. Bronson Reed had come down to the ring wearing almost like a Bam Bam Bigelow-esque outfit, paying tribute to him. There was a ladder spot. I think it was Cameron Grimes was climbing 2 ladders, and the ladders end up separating. So he's kind of doing the splits in between the 2 ladders. Another spot that featured Bronson Reed was him splashing Johnny Gargano from the top of, well, not the top, but the midst of the top of one of the ladders, Candice LeRae on his back. So he ends up splashing Johnny Gargano on the mat with Candice LeRae on his back. It was a pretty cool moment there. Highlights of the match. But anyways, when it came down to it, looked like Johnny Gargano, Johnny TakeOver, was going to be the new NXT North American champion. The only guy to hold that belt twice. Anyways, he wasn't able to do it. Damian Priest ends up winning the championship in good fashion. A great match, hard-hitting match, as of course you'd expect. A ladder match, 5 guys going at it for the North American Championship. At one point, it looked like any one of these guys could have won that match. But like I said, in the end, Damian Priest is now your new North American or NXT North American champion. So a great match there. Next match, and I do believe it was the Pat McAfee Adam Cole match. And is going to make sure of that. Yep, it was. So I tell you this, and I hate saying this, but Pat McAfee, you know what? I'd love to see the guy in the ring again. I think he's got, I tell you this, he's definitely got charisma. His own talk show, you've seen it on the pre-shows and kickoff shows and this and that. Obviously, he had a falling out at one point with Vince McMahon because of the fact that Vince McMahon didn't care for his outfit, didn't care for his style. And then next thing you know, he's basically back on track. They discovered that he wants to be a wrestler. He's had this passion. And I tell you this, he's gifted. That match was interesting because of the fact is you had no Undisputed Era ringside. You had none of Pat McAfee's boys really getting heavily involved, but they stayed ringside. When they tried to get involved and also Undisputed Era came out, there was a whole big melee. Pat McAfee does a swanton almost onto the guys down on the floor, wipes everybody out. That becomes a one-on-one singles match. Pat McAfee was performing moves that I didn't think he'd be able to. You take a guy like I don't know, even Todd Phillips, and you put him in a match, all of a sudden it's like, can this guy compete? Sam Roberts, can this guy compete? Pat McAfee, though, he had it last night, and there was, obviously I don't think he was going to beat the longest reigning NXT champion of all time, but the fact is, watching that match, there was hope. There was like, holy crap, Pat McAfee might actually be able to do this, but in the end, it wasn't meant to be. Adam Cole ends up winning the match, and we'll have to see what happens with him going forward. But it was a great match. Not my match of the night, but it was a great match. So from there, we go on to match number 5 of the night. And this was the NXT Women's Championship match. Oh, and I picked Adam Cole to win. So basically, I think I'm 2 for 2 because Damian Priest had also picked to win as well. So I'm 50-50 right now. Like I said, NXT Women's Championship match. Io Shirai taking on Dakota Kai. Renee Gonzalez. I do believe that's her name. Or is it Raquel? It might be Raquel. I think it is Raquel. Yeah, Raquel Gonzalez was ringside, of course, being the enforcer. So anyways, good match, good hard-hitting match. Dakota Kai brought it to Io Shirai, but the fact is all the submission moves and all the moves in the world couldn't beat Io. Io retains. Some spots in the match was Io's left arm continuously being worked by Dakota Kai. Raquel Gonzalez only got involved once in the match. She came in and kind of did a powerbomb move. I forget the actual name of it right now, but she got involved once. And then Dakota Kai just couldn't do it. At one point, the referee got knocked out because Dakota Kai ended up kicking him in the corner. Io Shirai, one of the most, I guess, insane athletes down there in NXT, and she will be in WWE someday as well. The fact is, the way she can move, I mean, they call her the genius of the sky. She definitely is. The way she can get up to that top rope, the height she gets after coming off the top rope, whether it be down to the floor, whether it be a moonsault, into the ring there. She hit 2 of those. The first one didn't count because the referee was knocked out. Like I said, Dakota Kai had done everything she could to submit her, to pin her, just couldn't get it done. Io Shirai hits a last moonsault there and ends up pinning Dakota Kai for the win. After the match, Raquel Gonzalez comes in, looks to want to take out Io Shirai, and then whose music hits? Rhea Ripley. So all of a sudden they have a stare down in the ring. The fan, so to speak, are outside. They're like, yeah, just get it on, just hit each other, and this and that. And It never came to be. So Raquel Gonzalez leaves the ring, and Rhea Ripley standing in the middle of the ring. So obviously, it's going to be a feud between the two of them. As far as championship material goes, it's kind of one of those things where I think Rhea Ripley makes the save for Io Shirai, and then next thing you know, you're going to see the two feud, and that might be the swan song for Io Shirai then when she loses that title, possibly to Rhea Ripley. Ripley stands her ground in NXT, and maybe Io Shirai finally gets up to the main roster. But I picked Dakota Kai to win in that one. Unfortunately, I was wrong, so now I'm 2 for 3. But last match of the night was the main event: Karrion Kross, Keith Lee. It was a battle, obviously another submission battle because Karrion Kross is a submission wrestler. Much the same with regards to Karrion Kross working on Keith Lee's, I think it was left arm again. But big back and forth match. I'll get to a little bit after I talk about the match here, because there was a little bit of I can't really say sloppiness, but there's a little bit of a slow periods during the match. I don't know if the guys were winded or what, but that's the way it seemed. But anyway, long story short, hard hitting match. Keith Lee tries to make the comeback after Karrion Kross had tried to submit him a couple of times. They end up on the second rope. Karrion Kross goes and hits the what's he calling it now? He is calling it, bear with me a second here, the Doomsday Sayado. So he had hit one of those earlier on in the match in the ring. He actually had him in the chin lock as well. Keith Lee looked like he was going to pass out, but then he comes back to. They end up on the second rope. Karrion Kross hits the Doomsday Sayado off the second rope, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's just set up. Keith Lee's going to end up kicking out, but nope, that was the finish of the match. Karrion Kross ends up winning the NXT Championship off of Keith Lee. Really kind of a match you expected from the two of these guys, but like I said, I'll get into more detail in a little bit here. But like I said, Karrion Kross does win the NXT Championship. His entrance is probably one of the best in the world. The way he posed with the title at the end of the show was, great as well. Scarlett adds a dimension to his character, which is absolutely amazing, and just that look of intensity in him is absolutely cool as well. So Karrion Kross wins. So I am 3 for 3. As far as my predictions go, as far as NXT goes, we'll have to wait and see how I do with SummerSlam. In saying that, 3 p.m. live today. Like I said, I was going to do a pre-record, but 3 p.m. live today, you'll be seeing me back on this channel. So back on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch to do a live prediction show for SummerSlam, and then another live show after SummerSlam to do a recap show. Just to give everybody a heads up there. So, and then audio forums will happen later on today or tomorrow, depending on how much time I've got. But like I said, SummerSlam preview coming up 3 p.m. today, and then recap show right after SummerSlam live again. So look forward to those. Anyways, I'm going to go through this. Match of the night for me was this: Finn Balor, Timothy Thatcher. Going into it, I would have said probably definitely not Adam Cole, Pat McAfee. But the fact is, I probably would have said the main event, Karrion Kross, Keith Lee, just looking at the card. Might have said the 5-way ladder match. But yeah, in the end, when I saw that match of the night, Finn Balor, Timothy Thatcher, like I said, I just couldn't get enough of it. Surprising enough. So you go from match of the night to what I'm calling the wrestler of the night. And that is it for me. So you can go back a year from now and be like, yeah, you called Pat McAfee the wrestler of the night, a year ago at NXT TakeOver 30. But he impressed me. When I looked at everybody on the card in the 5-way match, had great wrestlers in it. But the fact is, it was just one big cluster because of the amount of talent in that one, in the one ring at the same time. But when it comes down to it, Pat McAfee, stepped up. He proved he was more. It wasn't just bark, he could deliver it as well. So Pat McAfee, my wrestler of the night. So kind of interesting there. Last little bit of news before I sign off here. So talking about the main event there, and I was saying it wasn't sloppy, but they kind of slowed down at one point. And I've seen Keith Lee do a lot more. I've seen Karrion Kross do a lot more as well. But here it is. Karrion Kross sustains shoulder injury at NXT TakeOver 30. Karrion Kross captured the NXT Championship from Keith Lee at TakeOver 30. He did it after sustaining a shoulder injury, WWE.com has learned. WWE medical staff confirmed that Kross sustained a separated acromioclavicular joint, hopefully I pronounced that right, during his battle with the Limitless One. Despite the injury, a determined Kross took down the champion, showing incredible toughness by lifting Lee after the devastating Doomsday Sayado off the middle rope to claim the NXT Championship. Kross will have an MRI on Monday to determine the full extent of the injury. Stick with WWE digital and social platforms for more on Karrion Kross's status as it becomes available. To know he continued the match, to know he won the NXT Championship injured, back in my lighter days, I used to snowboard quite a bit, and I have dislocated my shoulder before. Did the whole Mel Gibson thing and popped it back into place on the mountain. But I tell you this, it's a sickening feeling. And and that's just me snowboarding, carrying Cross, doing what he's doing, and having to still be physical, still have to be in that ring. Props to this guy. But, it's unfortunate that he's injured. Hopefully the MRI is only a temporary setback. Maybe he can get through with promos, whatever the case may be. Hopefully he's not on the shelf. Hopefully he doesn't have to relinquish the title. We saw this happen with Finn Balor when he won the Universal title. But hopefully, good news, or at least, it's a temporary setback for Karrion Kross, and he doesn't have to relinquish the title tomorrow. So we'll have to wait and see. So that is it for NXT TakeOver results, guys. It's been great. Like I said, I watched it in 2 parts, but it was absolutely amazing. I got through it. I'll be watching SummerSlam live tonight. And saying that, I was hoping the Raptors would play this afternoon. There we go. We the North, go Raptors. But they are playing at 6:30 tonight as far as the app goes. So I might have to watch SummerSlam on the big TV and have the tablet beside me watching the Raptors. Because if they beat out Brooklyn tonight, that's it. Brooklyn's done. They move on to round 2. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, like I said, we the North, go Raptors. But yeah, like I said, guys, that is it for CWN Recap for NXT TakeOver. There is my handle on Twitter at Chris Maloney CWN. Follow me. Give us a like on Facebook or YouTube, or follow us on Twitch, whatever platform you're watching on or listening on, as far as the Anchor or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts go. But it's been enjoyable. I didn't think I was doing this live, but we have. Like I said, we'll be back at 3 p.m. today to do the SummerSlam preview. That's going to be live as well. And then tonight you will see SummerSlam, the recap show taking place immediately following SummerSlam, probably give it or take about 10 minutes after the show ends, probably about 10:30 or so. So yeah, look for that, guys. But we will see you back in about an hour and a half. So look forward to talking to you guys again, doing SummerSlam predictions, and we'll see everybody probably in a couple hours. All right, take care.